Right, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. I tried to do this video before, but I had other stuff recorded in this camera already, and then the video kind of stops itself because if it starts running short of data capacity, it'll shut down, and I think I was yammering on too much about the point. And so I'm going to make this video all over again, finally. But I seen on the TV news earlier this guy, and which is a school system that ain't that far from me or whatever too. But I heard another news story after that. But I guess she wouldn't sit down or something. And there was some things where he threatened to. It got to a point where he threatened. I says, cut all her hair off and knock her teeth out. But a couple different stories I read and seen said, oh, he'll cut all her hair off and knock her teeth out. But there was a quote that says, if you bite me, so help me God, I'll knock all your teeth out. Well, here's my thing on it. We all know anyway that a lot of us, even us as kids, small kids on the bus, like when you and me were in school, there were some of our friends were rowdier than others. And there was a thing, if any of you see in this video, that I have mixed feelings that it is about, say, our fathers or stepfathers going too far and say, I'll put your effing ass in the hospital. I've been there. There was part of me that, was, if it was I was going to make a big mistake in my life that would harm me and I had to get through. But then there was a thing, too, where you have this dysfunctional shit that I resent that to this day you almost want to say, come to your, certain family members when you're older can do more and say, oh, now you stupid, broken old man. Yeah, you're going to threaten me like that now. So this video stems from little resentments inside your head. You have mixed feelings. But even though you don't hate your other family members, older family members all the time for it either. But this guy, here's where I have a problem with somebody like this guy. And my thing is, too, if you have a small boy or a small girl, and we were taught as kids too by our parents, if a defense mechanism, okay, that you don't want to deny to them, that yes, they can bite somebody or kick somebody if they feel threatened too, because we had this it stemming from this thing where don't talk to strangers, don't take no candy from strangers, don't let them grab you. If they get a hold of you, kick them or bite them, like especially if you're on them. Whether you're inside your yard or they come to your fence or or say if you're not walk to the bus stop with small kids and shit like that. So there's that defense mechanism. I'm making the argument that this small girl was taught. But I'll tell this guy right off the bat that so if I had a kid, I would say, maybe separately, if the kid wasn't sitting down, that's one thing. But I wouldn't, I'd go right and find this dude unannounced. And if I get wind of this, I would come right up and say, oh, hi, how you doing? Grab him by the mouth. By the mouth, not the throat, because by the mouth you can grab slam his ass against the wall so the back of his head kind of feels it. And I would be like, well, how about if I bite you? What the fuck are you going to do about it? Because I don't care if somebody wouldn't sit down on a bus. There is a thing that's a liability. Say if I was a bus monitor or a bus driver, okay, I would have these rules. There's things that you can and can't do, especially if it's somebody's small girl. You just don't say, oh, you're going to knock their teeth out. But if there is certain problem, I'd argue that there can be like a police, like a body cam, that you can say to the kid, I believe it's a liability in little situations, whether you're a bus driver or a bus monitor, for petty things. But in my book, if you have two kids fighting, whether this or teenagers, you have more leeway. You have, let's say, less liability that, especially when teenagers are getting a little older and stronger. If they're fist fighting on a bus, if you're a bus driver, bus monitor, pull over. I mean, well, you can almost get sued as it is for that. But in my book, I think if I was one of them people in that occupation, it would be safer to get in the middle of fight two teenagers and be like, stop the bus or the bus. Hey, hey, hey! Go between them and, maybe more than one person grabbing them. They may try to sue you, but there's a thing where you get, fighting like wild on a bus. When I was a kid on a bus, there was a lot of shit that, if you were so and so's relatives, people got away with things like there's things like bullying too, where I can tell you a couple of stories that I'll just say real quick, not to make this video too long. That still goes on, where buses have cameras, right? And there was two different women I was dating over periods of time. One of which is still actively on my Facebook, where there was kids bullying and it was shown in the cameras. And just because it's so-and-so's, you can tell it's because it's so-and-so's relatives or somebody. Yeah, the evidence, this girlfriend of mine's kids were getting bullied and harassed, shown in the camera. Bus monitors or drivers didn't look the other way. And it was shown in the camera. And just to get out of it, justify it, the principal and people in school administration smugly said, oh, there's no sound, you can't prove anything. So, in other words, if a kid was doing something even worse, oh, there's no, and that's just because it's so and so's relatives. So there's like bias and preference too, going on. It was going on when I was in school. I mean, you had different staff and different people, especially if you were a kid that maybe your mother got divorced and remarried. You got somebody that's a stepdad or soon to be stepdad there together, and maybe you moved to a couple different school systems and had a couple different landlords, and you're not liked by anybody, or there's bias against you, like in so many ways. This dovetails into some of the videos that I was responding to people about gang stalking. It dovetails into gang stalking, how that starts too. But if you're somebody that maybe is poor, your mother got divorced, and starting a new life, and say you're in a community you're not really wanted, and you're not paying enough of school taxes. So in the school, it's not always the color. Yeah, sometimes people can argue racial color, but then certain white people too. You're white trash or something. And say your mother got divorced and maybe you have a soon to be stepdad and dysfunctional at home, different things like that, but yet your parents are still going to stick up for you if they find shit out going on. And and you can be in the school, and don't think that those fucking people in the schools, I'm not even saying all people just because they're school administration or school this or that are bad either, but there's a lot of them as far as the bullying thing on the bus, which I'm bringing that subject up too, throwing it into this video. It could be a separate video. Yeah, you're a family that doesn't pay enough of taxes. You're a kid going to school, and they know your parents don't pay enough for any school taxes because you're poorer, or your mother was divorced, and that's the way it is, and you can be a kid being like that. But I'm not saying that this bus monitor and this girl that was threatened this way is part of that. But there are some of them out there that are. But my thing is, I don't care if it's a small boy or a small girl. You got to watch how you handle. I regard it as a bigger liability. And this guy being an asshole anyway, I want to get back to saying another news story that I heard later about this that made our news. The guy saying smugly, and his lawyer, I was trying to, quote, help her. Well, fucking help her. How? I don't care what anybody else says or about even me in this video. The guy saying that makes you, if I was a father, that's why I don't have no kids. If I was a kid, if I was a parent and had kids, whether especially a small girl or a small boy, but especially a small girl in a situation like this, it would be my God's. I don't care if I get a fine or get locked up for a little bit or not. It would be my God-given and right, and it would be my my God-given duty to find out about this, grab this guy by the mouth, slam his fucking head against the wall, literally, uh, and says, yeah, somebody better do something about the police, better do something about it or whatever. That's why I don't fucking have kids. I don't want to come off as like somebody gonna say that accuse me of this and that for saying that. Yeah, go fucking ahead. But I'm just saying it's the reason why I'm glad I don't have kids. Um, that's a fucking bunch of bullshit, you know. But in my book, like I says, I'll say too, the safer, less liability. I'll say again is if a couple kids were fighting, then you can. There are certain ways that you could, no matter who started. Hey, get in there and even if somebody tries to sue you that way, it's at least there's a leeway. You know what I mean? Unlike the situation where this guy, oh, if you bite me, I'm gonna knock your teeth out. It says, and when I hear about this, and if I had a small girl or a small kid, I don't care if she bit him or not. And if I find out he said something like that and it's true, I'll go up there saying, how the fuck would you like it? Maybe I'll fucking bite you. Go ahead and knock my teeth out, you son of a bitch. I mean, that's just my thing about it. But I'm trying to give you something about bullying too. Threw that in there too, where I had other girlfriends that was unfair in administrations or bias, even with a camera. You know what I mean? And oh, there's no sound in the camera. They won't do nothing about certain bullying that kids are doing. But yet at the same time, yeah, kids can be undisciplined and too loud, and it can be a nightmare for some bus drivers. But too, somebody told me one time, you know, when I was out of work, why don't you be a bus driver? I was like, fuck no. There's some shit that I don't want that shit. If I saw bullying, I'd intervene, and I'd at least break up something. But there's some shit I would stay the hell away from because it would be a liability. And call the people that need to be called because I don't want to. There's the more dangerous and more liable ways that things you could say to kids or grab a kid the wrong way, and there should be some proper training, you know. That's all I'm saying, you know. I mean, and the only reason I'm saying I don't care if people like what I'm saying or not. I'm saying this too because I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just saying the reason why I wouldn't do what this guy is doing. This is not, okay, on a video threatening people. What this is saying that I would have a general concern doing something like that the wrong way because in my mind, what if the father isn't wrapped too tight? You never know. They'll walk right up. I don't know who they are. It could be the parent or a relative of the damn kid. And I could get hurt. So this isn't me saying something radically kind of a way. I'm trying to tell you I myself would have a general concern that somebody might come after me other than authorities. So if something you do something, you better handle it right or don't fucking take the job. That's just all it is.